I work for a company that has a bit of a black sheep reputation in that, most of the Niagara industry focus has been on what we call the core four varietals: Riesling, Chardonnay, Pinot Noir, and Cabernet Franc. And we've kind of run madly in the opposite direction. I think, there's a lot of old world thinking that wants Niagara to be one thing and to present one face to the consumer, and that's a valid marketing vision, but I don't really see it as valid in the vineyard at all, necessarily in Niagara, in that, what if Niagara was that strange wine region in the world where we could do a lot of things pretty well? On the Beamsville bench, about 15 kilometers that way, some of the greatest Riesling in the world is grown. But heads up, 23 kilometers the other way to the east of where I'm standing right now, on the St. David's bench, we can do world-class cool climate Syrah. So, what if Niagara is one of those regions that can do many things and maybe be all things to all people instead of one unified identity? In my experience, Niagara is far more than a one or a two or a three-trick pony. We're still figuring out what to grow where in Niagara and how to grow it, and I think it's foolish to confine our expectations of what's possible here to a limited, kind of blinders on focus of what might work. The other thing that's on the table is that, we have our customer base and they like varied wines. Everybody's into the 100-mile diet. So we've got that whole growing population in the GTA that want VQA wine. And so there's probably room for a lot of niche varietals there. Things like, Syrah will never be huge quantity out of Niagara, not exportable quantity probably, but it's good. So is Viognier. So are some of the lesser Bordeaux varietals like Malbec and in good vintages Petit Verdot. I just don't see, when we talk about alternative varietals in Niagara, I think we're years and years and years from giving up and defining Niagara narrowly. I think we'd really be shooting ourselves in the foot. I don't see why people would want to pull this stuff out. Now, I could be, 20 years, 30 years from now, I could be proven completely wrong, because ultimately wineries are businesses, and there has to be some sustainability financially. But I know, for example, that our Viognier block in St. David's pays for itself annually on the fruit it produces and the bottle price that we can get back from that vineyard. So yeah, it's tiny. It's like 200 cases a year maybe. But so what? It's 200 cases of good wine. So what, we're going to pull it out because it doesn't fit the plan? I guess that's my take on alternative varieties in Niagara, is that we have to pay attention to our overall consumer identity, and yeah, there will need to be some varietal focus to get a foot in the door. But once people start to get Niagara and get the fact that there are quality wines coming out of here, guess what? It's a cornucopia. There's a lot of good wines, a lot of different varietals that are possible off this peninsula.